And welcome back to The Factor Uncensored. Trending tonight, some parents are taking their Christmas gifts and returning them to the store. Gifts that they bought for their children. Now, if their kids are on the naughty list, they won't get those gifts. And despite some of those kids misbehaving, some of those parents say they can't help but feel guilty about taking that action. My next guest, Dr. Bernadette Smith, shares her expert opinion on it. First of all, do you think that's right to do?
All right, so I tend to not usually give like definitive yes and no's. So yes, but also no, right? You have to be able to have consequences and be able to communicate those consequences. But then does that then mean that we're completely doing elimination? Because what we also don't want to do is create a sense of like resentment and anger, right, with that
Yeah.
child, because then you're going to create a hardened child and then they're not going to want to change, right? Because they won't feel as if anything is going to benefit. And so what we have to recognize is that when there is this extreme behavioral issues, there's always something underlining that.
Mm-hmm.
And so being able to first as a parent identify, okay, what's going on underneath this, but then being able to talk about, hey, because we have consequences in life. We're not at all saying don't create consequences for your child, but be very intentional. If this happens, then this is going to happen. But then also creating a space and opportunity for them to earn things back. Now, if they're misbehaving and getting F's, do they need a PlayStation? I'm gonna go, no, they don't need a PlayStation. But that
You
also
got a
does.
lot of kids mad right now, Dr. Smith. A lot of kids
I'm just
upset.
saying, if you're making F's, maybe we don't need a PlayStation. That might be why you were making F's. But then also being able to say, you're still going to get something. Maybe it's going to be something from the Dollar Tree art section, not this PlayStation thing.
Not the Dollar Tree, Dr. Smith.
Listen, that's what Santa gives my kids, Dollar Tree store gifts, and we give the kids the real gifts.
Okay, got it. Parents
But
want their credit. Santa
and do
brought you this stocking stuffer. I brought you the
all of this.
PlayStation.
I got you the play.
Now, for the parents who, when they take this course of action and they feel guilty about it, should they feel guilty about it?
Isaiah, parenting is tough. So I can definitely understand why a parent would feel guilty behind it. But I think one of the ways to help to minimize that feeling of guilt is to create open communication with your child. So then that way it's not coming out of the blue, right? So I had to have the same conversation with my child because their grades weren't doing what I needed their grades to do.
Mhm.
And I was like, if you don't do what you need to on this test, Christmas break is going to look very different. So we're communicating, hey, this is my expectation because I know that you can do that. But if you're not able to do this, it's not going to be waking up in the morning watching TV. It's going to be a very different thing. So being able to create open communication can help to mitigate that feeling of guilt because again, you're saying if this happens, then this, and we're creating a set of natural consequences for an action or behavior.
Now, what if you have two parents pulling in different directions, saying, hey, that's too hard on the kid. Let's do it this way, or let's give him a second chance. And they could be doing that in front of the child, and you don't show a united front. So what if you have that other parent saying, here are the rules, I've set the rules, follow the rules. And then you have the softy parent saying,
Well, I would then say that's probably why the child is able to act in that way because they know they can pit the parent against each other,
mhm.
right? So if I know that my mom is going to come in and save the day, then why do I need to change my behavior? So at the end of the day, what becomes important is for the adults to come together and try to have these conversations offline in terms of, okay, what does this then look like? To try to create as much of a united front. And if that's not possible, then saying, okay, I may not be able to control what this parent does over here when they're with the child, but over here, this is what I'm going to have to do. But then again, being able to communicate, right?
Mhm.
When when my father would discipline us when we were younger, he would always say, we always knew why we were getting in trouble. There was no confusion to that. And so that open communication, this is happening because you were disrespectful to the teacher. And as a result, this is what's going to happen. And until we can move past this, then this privilege is not going to be available to you.
All right. Excellent advice, Dr. Bernadette Smith. We thank you for joining us here on The Factor tonight. Still ahead here on The Factor tonight, we're talking about those holiday office parties and how to keep the peace at those functions and not let it spill over into your office. Keep it here on The Factor Uncensored.